Good evening. Welcome to our live session every Tuesday here on our channel, where we give you hands-on example, where we give you hands-on good content so you can improve your marriage. And today is a very hot topic. What is it to be with somebody who cheated on you, to be with somebody who had an affair, who committed adultery? How do we handle this, and how do we actually restore our marriage? And I'm here again with my beautiful wife, Natalie, dancing Feldbauer. And I'm curious, what do you see from the people who addressed us? How do we help them? What do they need first and foremost if their partner committed adultery, if the partner is falling in love with somebody else, if the partner maybe struggles with the topic of lust and meeting prostitutes and going after that? What do you see as first and foremost biggest challenge what people need?
So we're talking about people here who love their spouse, whatever happened, and who are willing to put in the effort to take responsibility and fight for their marriage. So if this is you, then this video is for you. I know also on my content on Instagram, many people have no understanding for this. They're like, as soon as somebody cheats on me, I'm out. And that's okay too. But we really stand for restoration. We stand for anything is possible, especially when you are with God. Like Jesus Christ can heal and restore and do anything and everything for you if you want that, if you allow that to happen. So to answer your question, I think the most important thing, the first thing is, and I think really it stands or breaks on this, is to have somebody else around you to encourage you on your decision. Because most people in the world out there will tell you, move on. She's a he's a don't even put up with this. This is what most people will tell other people who are in this situation. And I think having somebody else to support you in this challenging season, it's very challenging, it's very tough, it's hurtful, it's painful. You don't know what to believe, what you should do, and so on. But having somebody in your inner circle to encourage you on your feeling, on your knowing that you should stick to that, I think this is crucial.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. You mentioned that the people who are here, they are willing to restore, though the world today was in the conversation, the world and everybody else is telling him something different. And if you're here, you consciously or unconsciously are aware of the power of your covenant. You aware what God intended you to be, and you aware of this, that it's actually not your spouse being unfaithful. It's like a spiritual war on your family, on your relationship. And you, doesn't matter if you're the woman or if you're the wife or the husband, you have this seed inside of you, and you know it deeply, because it's like purpose driven, that you can restore this family.
Something I want to add, because many people comment also, adultery is a sin. It's one of those sins that, and then they tell me all kinds of things, and that you have the right for divorce actually when your partner commits adultery. And I really want to point out, yes, this is true. And this is also the old covenant. And we see Jesus walking up to people and forgiving them for everything and anything they did. We even see in the old covenant somebody like Moses, who killed another person, being called into a big purpose and serve people for God's glory. So yes, I understand it's a sin and it's painful, and you could choose whatever to do. But like I said, you are here and we are here. I stand 100% in that truth, that whatever happened, your family deserves restoration. And what I can say from our experience, because we did that towards each other, like I cheated on Jacob, Jacob cheated on me, we were both really messing up a lot. And what I can tell from that perspective is nothing, nothing, like none of that pain, none of our sins, none of our mistakes and failures and really like bad stuff we did to each other, none of that amounts to the greatness of what's happened to our family through this restoration. So I think the consequences of having your family destroyed by such an act is far more painful, has far more effects on your children and generations afterwards coming. I think the enemy feels really happy if he's able to put something like that on your path and destroy your entire family, your marriage, your whole story, instead of going through it, growing through it, and really restore and have also God do something great out of horrible things we did, you did.
So everything what you see here, everything what we provide people, everything what we help people, it was just possible because we stick through the process. So the result, we could never imagine doing business in that way. Yeah, the result of this and the blessings of this and the much more blessings will come. Like not to mention really having our kids growing up in a home and a safe home and a loving home with both parents. The advantage for us is like uncountable, unmeasurable. But you mentioned a big point, and for me, it's the first and foremost point. Yes, of course, your environment is very important, and for you, for me, the major one point why it fails, why marriages fail when this is happening, because people carry unforgiveness. Yeah, because people don't forgive their partner, because people always think about what's wrong, that I'm right, that I'm victim, and something like that. And you really need to overcome all of this and stand above your feelings, emotions, and thoughts, and truly act on the vision, act on the purpose what God gave set inside your heart. And this was the only possibility I could stand in really rough times with my wife. And that's very important. And you have to forgive always and always and always. And I think always again and again and again. Yeah, it will never end at some point. And what helps you or might help you the most is like the grace God gave you in advantage, so now you can train to go give this grace also to somebody. I just mentioned it today in a conversation. If you want to follow Jesus, it's better not to be married, so you have more time for that. But if you want to become like Jesus, it's better you are married. So it might be very challenging and it might be very painful, and your body might burn and your flesh might resist, but you actually know what's right. And so the first and foremost thing is like forgive, and then of course, yeah, it's tough and it needs wisdom, and preferably if you're if you're lucky and watch this video, if you're lucky and know us, preferably you get yourself really support how to act on that, because how to bring marital order back into your marriage. Because what happens is not because your spouse is just unfaithful, like I said, it's because there's a dynamic, and it's so like it's so obvious, and it's always the same story, always the same patterns, and you can really see it from the outside. But the man and the woman, the wife and the husband have been not aware how to act in a marriage, like how to honor your husband, or the husband has not been aware how to lead your wife properly, so she's respecting you, or she's like acting accordingly. Like, it's really a huge encouragement, such a situation where you're in, to grow in your role, and in your role as spiritual leader, in your role as a godly wife, supporting your husband, so you can both create a great fortune and a great legacy. Yeah, so it's like God, or like the enemy kicks in, and God tries to shift it and really bless you in many many ways when you stick through it. And for this, it you really you it's a good advice to seek advice to seek for people, to knock on people's door who made it through, and who can support you on that journey. Yeah.
So something we teach people is, like Jakob just said, the reason you ended up in this situation right now is not just because you are unfaithful or your spouse is unfaithful. It's not just because one of you is an a-hole, okay, to say the least. It's really something deeply rooted in a disorder, in a misunderstanding, in probably things you grew up with, things we normalize in our society, things that are just off of our true design, of God's design, intention, and purpose for us. So one thing we teach people in our mentorings is about, first of all, it's about principles, like really looking at the container of marriage. What did God actually create marriage for? I know most of you are married. They were married in a church. You made your vows. You actually know what it means. Till death,
In
what
good
is
and
it?
bad times.
In good and bad times, until
And
death
yeah.
parts us, something
Yes.
like this. I'm not sure what it is in English right now. Until death brings us apart. I don't know. Anyway, I know you know these things, but do you actually know why God created a marriage? Why you are in a covenant with your wife or husband? That God actually created your spouse perfectly for you. Whatever is going on with all the good stuff and bad stuff, He created your spouse long before He created all of this, with intention and purpose. So these are things we look at. The other thing we look at is dynamics between you and your husband, between you and your wife. It's really about, like you said, how do we talk to each other? Who has which roles? What are the innate qualities we carry? I'm not talking about societal concepts and ideas and opinions that don't live up to our nature, but I'm talking about true innate qualities, strengths and powers we have to bring them together. So we look at that, because one thing is for sure, and you can probably confirm this. One thing that leads to adultery that we have experienced on our own bodies, and also what many many people experience before adultery happens, it's this, there's like this lack of attraction. Like you kind of gravitate away from each other. You're like, there's no, in the beginning you're attracted to your spouse, but then life happens, kids come, you have stuff to do, you have mortgages to pay, house to build, whatever, houses to build, jobs to do, any kinds of stuff, maybe sicknesses to fight, any kinds of stuff coming your way, and you start kind of drifting apart. Intimacy is not that important anymore. You're not in the mood. The wife turns around because she has a headache or whatever. And this is one thing that shows there's something off in your dynamic, because normally and naturally, when your dynamic is on purpose, on God's purpose, you will naturally be pulled together. You will naturally gravitate towards each other, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So this is also a thing we really look at. And then we look at, okay, how can we implement this? Like what are we supposed to do in our everyday's life? How can I communicate? Not like the traditional um, counseling communication tips, but really on point stuff. I'm thinking of Martin, his wife. She was pregnant and she left him. She was done and she was just pregnant with their first child. And because of the work we did with them, with him actually, because of the work we did with Martin, Martin shares pictures on Facebook of their marriage and their are they having their second baby?
No, but at least he was capable to see the birth of his baby, yeah, and to grow up.
And they are together now. So really the encouragement I think from our side is whatever it looks like right now, go into it. You don't need to work with us. You can choose whatever you want to. You can get in yourself. You can start reading the Bible. You can start learning from experts on this field, but make sure you do something about that, because you're not a victim to the situation. You have control over this, and you have responsibility over this to take on your part. And then and then I think the last thing I want to share is I was convinced I'm done with our relationship. Like for me, this was 100% over. And I was really mean to express that over months towards Jacob. But Jacob, you just stood in the conviction, I'm your wife and I will be forever. And you're going to turn this ship around. And eventually, like you see, he did. So this is my encouragement for you, whatever is happening, wherever you are, whatever your spouse says, stand in that conviction, do what it takes, do your work. And I believe 100% that you can and will experience restoration for you and your family.
This is what the whole video is about. First and foremost, to give you hope on your journey, that there is a revelation at the end of this valley of death and darkness right now. And because you mentioned it's beautiful, and we are confronted with that many times, it's totally fine and it's totally perfect and it's totally enough if only one person is believing in the covenant. Yeah. And if it's you, it's you. Yeah. It's not like, what about him? What about her? She's not, he's not. No, it's not about this thing. It's you mentioned this word, responsibility, not towards your spouse or your marriage or your children, or you're not even on the self, it's your responsibility towards him. Yeah.
Towards God, yes.
To be obedient and to follow his will. Okay. We're happy to know more about your opinion, your situation, where you're at right now, where you are maybe stuck. So we also can share and answer some questions here beneath this video. See you for the next live stream next Wednesday every week. Some great inputs on the topic relationship, betrayal, intimacy. Just stay connected, stay tuned. Bye.
Bye-bye.